So, got it. Learning how to make natural skincare products is one of the most rewarding and empowering skills to have because you can master so many different things depending on what you're using it for. Being able to whip your own fluffy body butters, to making your own toners, to making salves and balms for any ailment that you have. Say that you have eczema or sore skin or dry skin, these are all going to be an easy thing to make at home after learning these few skills. First, when we are making our salves and oils, we want to make sure that we're using very good botanical ingredients. One of the most exciting parts about learning natural skincare is getting to work with so many different herbs for different things. And being able to take those practices and use them for so many different types of things is what I find the most fulfilling in my line of work, because I get to help people realize that it's easy, they could do it themselves, and it actually helps way more than buying any store-bought product. And yeah, so those are like one of my favorite things, to make people realize that it doesn't take an $100 cream to make your skin look beautiful. It doesn't take $100 cream to help with eczema or whatever you are dealing with or having problems with. When we're talking about botanicals and purchasing or foraging, you always want to make sure that you are using the right parts of the plant. There's different parts of plants that we can use for different things. A lot of plants use the flowers or the leaves or the roots. And the petals, the barks, the seeds, the flowers, like all those things can be used in so many different ways, which can feel like it's overwhelming at times, but once you get a hang of it, it is super easy to understand and super easy to work with. I grow my own herbs. I also forage. So I always like to let people know it's very easy to grow herbs because they are very easy and versatile, and you can get herbs that don't need much time put into them, which is a big thing if you have a busy life. If you don't have the space for it, if you don't have a garden, even making a small container of herbs that you can use for these salves and oils is a very easy way to go about it, like using calendula or chamomile, lavender, and aloe vera plant. Like those are a few plants that are very easy to grow and easy to use in so many vast products that I make myself, and a lot of other herbalists and natural beauty products lines use as well. When you figure that out, when you are realizing what you kind of want to use for your own natural skin products, it gets a little bit easier for you to realize that it's not hard at all. And being able to grow your own herbs and preserve your own herbs is one of the biggest, most beautiful feeling, because you grow something from the little seeds and then you like let it flower and you use it and then you put it into an oil and then it just like nourishes your skin, which also nourishes your soul. And yeah, it's a beautiful practice. If you don't find yourself able to grow, buying herbs are also an option. I always want to make people understand that when buying herbs, you want to make sure that you're buying from suppliers that are sustainable to our environments. Because in the world, we are rapidly losing our biodiversities. It is a lot of companies say that they're green, but there's a lot of greenwashing going on that are destroying natural habitats. So we need to be very extremely careful about the origins of our botanical ingredients, because there is such a huge demand. Like I think since me myself has noticed, but since COVID happened, so many people have been switching over from what they buy at the stores because they realize that it's not good for them. The ingredients in there are not natural, and have switched over to trying to be more sustainable and more natural in every way of life, from eating to like having skincare products to so much other things, cleaning, everything. So people are really realizing how beautiful and bountiful nature can be in those circumstances, which is a great thing, but also can be very terrible for the environment because people are not actually looking sustainably. They're just looking for a quick fix. So I really want people to like make sure that they know where their herbs are coming from, where the oils are coming from, so we don't have those future problems. So sustainable botanicals and oils are such a huge practice in my life, all the way down to the beeswax. Like I make my own beeswax from bees that I have on my property. Like I grow all my own herbs. I know not everybody can do that, but I also wanted my products to kind of reflect how much I do care about the environment. So I always like to let people know that, you know, make sure that you're doing your research. So we're going to talk about skincare in this class. I'm also going to show you guys how to make a face oil and a skin salve. And I encourage you all after this class to go and do some research on what your body needs, what your skin needs. Do you have oily skin? Do you have dry skin? Do you have like eczema? Do you have all these different types of ailments like soy muscles or sore skin, hands, feet, that kind of stuff? And really look into the types of herbs that help that, because there is a vast amount of them and it's really hard to touch base on all of them, and I will only be touching base on a couple today, just with the timeline that we do have. I really want you guys to kind of feel comfortable after this class is done to make your own skin salve and skin oil. So I'm really excited about that, as you can tell. The benefits of natural skincare is plentiful. You are putting more vitamins into your skin. You are putting more antioxidants into your skin, proteins, and bioactive compounds, where you wouldn't really be getting this from some drugstore oil or lotion. Like they do really make it to the point where they put natural in their ingredients, where the only thing really natural in there is probably water, or you know, maybe one other thing, but the rest of everything else is synthetic. So ingredients that are found not in nature are called synthetic. I'm sure most of you guys know. These ingredients are produced in laboratories and are completely safe to use, but the ingredients don't have as much, like I said, antioxidants and proteins that we would naturally use on our skin. I think with us being in the future, we're in almost 2023, which is mind blowing. We are kind of getting to the point where we feel synthetic is more natural. And like I was saying earlier, a lot of people are finally realizing that synthetic is not the way to go. So creating your own skincare products is such a beautiful way to realize those things. We'll talk about a couple things right now. For people with oiling skin, a natural skin routine will help with oiliness without using expensive skincare products. People with dry skin, there's a lot to do with what kind of oils you use. Beeswax is, and if you're a vegan and don't use beeswax, there are alternatives, but these waxes help reduce the effect of heat and hot showers and harsh soaps and all those things that can trigger dry skin, and as well as many different oils and herbs can help with that as well. People that have combination skins, which is what I do, depending on what you're going through at that time, there's a lot of different ways, but a lot of products that we get that are just for everyone really actually irritates our skin because there's false fragrances in there. There is not good produced oils. So using natural skincare can help with any type of skin problem. And for acne prone skins, a natural skincare routine will help with many benefits and potentially save you hundreds of dollars, which I really want you guys to understand that doing this kind of stuff is free in a sense. You know, you could technically do all of this yourself. Like you can make your own oils, you can grow your own herbs, you can make your own beeswax. And I know that's a stretch because not everybody can do that, but it is actually something that is quite easy. And I'm excited to show you guys that. So we'll talk about salves and ointments and oils before I show you guys how to make some. So salve, ointments, balms, and oils, a lot of people call them differently, but these are preparations that primarily come from semi-solid mix to fatty ingredients such as oils and waxes. Usually with no water parts at all. So you don't put water in your salves, in your balms, and your oils, because that will actually help with the, that will actually make it spoil. So we don't want any mold in your guys's products. We don't want you putting mold into your body because we all know that our pores do go into our bodies. So we want to make sure what we're using is absolutely stable and able to last a good shelf life, even if we're just making it at home. Because even the stuff on shelves, they have a shelf life. Go figure, you know, there's always like a little thing at the bottom of your container. If you get an oil from the store, if you get a lotion, there's always going to be a little thing that says how long that shelf life is for. And from there, everything kind of just like goes to crap. So there's a lot of suitable ingredients for salves, which include vegetable oils such as olive oil, sunflower oil, sweet almond oil, and apricot, and then beeswax. And in order, a lot of people use, in older times, a lot of people used fats and lards, which are coming back. And I don't think it's the most sustainable way, because if people realize how amazing animal fats are for your skin, I feel like a lot of more animals are going to be used just for that. But I do believe if you are in the sustainably mind state, that you use all of the animals. So say you do go and get a part of an animal and there's some lard, like use it all, like realize that everything on this earth is supposed to be used for something, and don't think that that's weird that you're putting animal lard on your skin, because it's been done for decades before, you know, we were even like, you know, little humans here. We're in our primate state. They're using those things. They didn't have, you know, a double broiler. They didn't have the need to make beeswax and these herbal oils and stuff like that. They literally just probably just took what they got from rendered down fats that they cooked over a fire and slathered it on their face. So those traditions are coming back, but if you are a vegetarian, then there's many different options as well as vegan options. So if you don't like using beeswax, there's different options for that. Making salves involves some degree of heat. So when you're using your oils, you want to make sure that they're fairly heat stable. So there's a lot of oils that are not that heat stable. And a couple of them are flaxseed oil, evening promise oil, and borage oil. So if you want to include these unheat stable oils into some of your products that you make at home, make sure that you're putting them in at room temperature, because it will actually affect the way that your oils and salves come out. Coconut oil is the most heat stable, and vegetable oil. And other oils like olive oil and sunflower oil are very good at being heat stable, but not at a high heat tolerant. And we'll talk about Beeswax. Beeswax comes in two varieties. As somebody that uses a lot of beeswax in my products, a lot of my products I have to use bought beeswax because I can't necessarily produce enough beeswax unless I had hundreds of hives. So there's two varieties, which are white and yellow. Today, I will be using the beeswax that I do get from my hive, which is a beautiful yellow, unbleached beeswax. It's always better to use as natural as possible. And like I said, sustainable as possible. Make sure you know where you're getting your beeswax from, just because it makes such a huge difference in the environment. And just, actually letting the people that are doing the sustainable ways of things feel that they're actually making a difference. Because if we all kind of look at what is on our labels and what is sustainable and what's not, we will fastly wipe out the unsustainable companies out there, even though they'll still be there, but we will, not be giving them our monies, which is a huge thing. We don't want to give people that are greenwashing this earth our money. All right, so I am going to, let me see my ingredients here. First, I'm going to show you guys how to make a lemon balm salve. If you watched the past video that I had a class on, we made these infused oils. So this is a lemon balm oil, and we put it in sunflower oil. So this is a great oil to use for your skin. It's great for any type of skin, dry skin, acne prone skin. It's an amazing oil because it's not only versatile, it actually absorbs into the skin better than olive oil does. And it's a really amazing herb to work with, lemon balm. Lemon balm benefits in a balm. Lemon balm is helps, like the balm helps put a protective layer on your skin, which is a good remedy for any type of skin issues such as chapped skin, diaper rashes, acne, eczema, and a lot of other things that you feel that you need, like unbroken skin or any affected area. So I usually just add as much herbs into a jar till it gets to a point that I have at least a fingertip in between of oil when it does go down to the bottoms. So you can kind of see here in the camera how much oil is on the top and how much lemon balm or herb that you're using is at the bottom. We don't want herbs to be at the top. We don't want our jars to be full, because if it is touching the surface, you're going to run into problems like having mold in your oils, which we don't want, because then we'll have to throw it away. And I showed you all how to make these oils in different ways. This one was made on the counter in the sun. So this is a sun infused oil. So it's been sitting for about 6 weeks now. So it should be very potent, and it's going to make an amazing lemon balm. So what I usually do first when I'm preparing my own balms at home is I use a double broiler method. So as you can see here, we have a small pot, we have a little bowl on top, and we have some water on the bottom. I can kind of see it. I don't want to spill it on my laptop. So we're going to put this bowl on top, making sure that it fits around so there's no gaps in between where our bowl can suddenly drop into the water, creating water into our balm, which would mean we would have to throw it out. We don't want the bowl bottom to be touching the water either. So we want just enough water that we can create a boil, that our bowl can go on top of that, and we can create a double broil method. So this is our beeswax. I've already boiled some down just to make it a little bit easier and a little bit faster so we can move on to making our face oil after, but I'm going to show you how to do this part very quick. When we are creating just small amounts of products, we want to use a scale so we know how much beeswax and how much oil we are putting into our product. So I use a kitchen scale, which is really easy to use because you have all the small grammage, even if you're just using small amounts of product. So we have our beeswax here. So we want to melt 60 grams of beeswax. So I'm going to put this down. We're going to make sure that this is on grams. So here we have 14. We'll pack some more until we get to 60. So we're at 60 right there. So this is a handful of beeswax, which is what we'll be using to make our skin salve balm. The difference also, let me note, the difference between skin salve and balm is when you're making a balm, you're adding more like more buttery oils into it. A skin salve is actually just beeswax, your oil, and your infused oil, herb oil. When you're making a balm, it's a little bit more creamier. So you would be using like a cocoa butter or shea butter and those kinds of things into your salve or balm as well. So there's not a big difference. A lot of people call a salve a balm and a balm a salve. It honestly doesn't really make a big difference in terminology for those kind of things because you're still using them for the same thing. Yes, 60 grams of beeswax for this single use. So I'm going to turn my double boiler on. And we're now going to add a cheesecloth over our oil. I get these cheesecloths from the dollar store. They're about $1 for a large spool of it. It literally lasts forever. So very cheap to get beeswax. It's cheap to get beeswax if you're getting it sustainably. It's cheap to get things that you need to make these products if you're doing it sustainably. A bottle for oil, like one of these bottles, cost about $1 each. A small tin for making your salves and balms. These are about 40 cents each. And getting your herbs, usually, depending on how much you get, can be quite cheap. Let's see. I'm confused what the process for making a lemon balm. Okay, so for making your oil, I'll do a quick tutorial again. So I'm just gonna I will just grab a small jar quickly. All right. So here we have chamomile. We'll use this as our guide to how much we would put into a jar. This jar is quite big. It's the same size as the other one. But we'll do, usually I like to fill up half of the jar that I'm making my oil in. So this is a smaller jar, so I'm just going to fill this up halfway. In this one, I'm going to use hemp seed oil just because I have it close to me and I don't have to run outside to grab anything else. And we're just going to fill up the jar all the way. And you can kind of see that it's bubbling, so that's going to allow the oil to get to the bottom. So we want to let that rest for just a second. Now we can see that the oil is not high enough. We don't have a fingertip in between. So it's just resting on the top of our chamomile oil here that we just made. So that is not enough oil. So depending on how big you're making your oil, you want to make sure that there is either a finger in between, or at least like a good inch in between your herb infusion to your oil that's left over. So now that's rested, we'll add some more on top. And so this, now we can see at the bottom here, just because it's not settled yet and the oil hasn't infused with our herb, that there is a good inch underneath there. So once it does settle for whatever type of way of infusion we are making it, we have a good gauge of how much oil is going to sit on top. So you want to always make sure that there is enough oil that when the herb does get infused in our oil, that it's not sitting on top. Just because this, if you see this in a couple days, this would turn into mold. But once this all starts getting infused, it's going to drop to the bottom, and this amount of oil is going to be on the top. Thank you. It's quite a mess right now. So I'm going to put this to the side. If you have any more questions, don't be sorry. I'm more than happy to let you know whatever you need to know. I really want you guys to walk away from here and be comfortable and being like, that was really easy to make. And I don't want it to sound difficult at all. Okay, so our oil, our beeswax, yeah, you can let it sit for 4 to 6 weeks in the sun, and then you can drain your oil and your herb out and let it sit in a dark space for up to a year. So that's the easiest process that I find that gets the most out of your herbs, because you're letting the slow process take all the herbs properties out of the oil and just go into that oil, which makes such a great strong oil to use in any products that you're going to be using it for. There are other methods, which I do believe is on Alexandra's on the page, on the divination page, where you can learn how we did it on our last class. All right, so our beeswax is now boiled down. So you can see that it's nice and liquid. We went from solid to liquid in a short amount of time with that double broil method. So now that we've done that, we are going to drain our lemon balm oil. I have the cheesecloth on top right here. I like to fold it a couple times just to make it a little bit thicker. And I just snug it on top there. And then I grab the lid. I just twist that on, making sure it's tight so it's allowing that oil and for the herbs to come out. So I just grab a measuring cup, and then I allow that oil to just seep through. And you can see how easy that is. And as you can see inside here, there's no lemon balm, there's no plant matter left over. You can see how beautifully green this oil is because it's been sitting for about 6 weeks. That's the lemon balm that infused into the oil that created that beautiful color, because when we made this oil, the oil was a very light yellow, and now it's a nice dark green. All right, so that's about 4 ounces. This is a 4-ounce jar, so that's about 4 ounces. We are using a 2-ounce container, so we want to make sure that we're only using about 1.5 ounces of oil, just because once our beeswax and our oil is combined, it's going to make way more than we can fit into this, which is a great part because you get to kind of use everything, as well as you can make bigger batches. You can make gifts for people. You can make a lot and store it for yourself. Yeah, these kind of things make great little Christmas gifts or birthday gifts because you're putting your love into it. You're making it with your hands. And it's just better than, buying somebody a gift box from whatever local stores you have and giving it to them without having, any part of doing anything in that. All right, so now that we have our oil, the cotton cloth is from the dollar store. Yes, it's just a cheesecloth. So you can use any type of cheesecloth. But yeah, super cheap. You can get it at the dollar stores. I live in Canada, so our dollar stores might be different, but I think most dollar stores are pretty much the same. All right, so we are going to put only about 1.5 ounces into our beeswax now. And I'm a big judge of things. I have worked with oils for a really long time, so my eye to ratio is a little bit on point. And if you don't have that, you're more than welcome to put a glass on a scale, as well as get smaller measuring cups so they have smaller ounces, because this one's quite large. So now that our oil is in with our beeswax, you can kind of see, because the oil was cold and the beeswax was hot, that it created its own little entity there. We're going to now pop this back onto the stovetop and put it on low. We're going to allow that oil to infuse with the beeswax. I use wood. Depending on how long, how much beeswax you have, depending on how big of batches you have, it only took me about 2 minutes to boil down that 60 grams of beeswax. But if you have larger batches, and depending on what state your beeswax is in, because you can grate your beeswax, you can leave it whole, or you can get beeswax pellets. They all boil down in different times. So this small amount only took me about 2 minutes on low heat on the double broiler. But if I do big batches, sometimes it can take up to 20 minutes. So it all depends on how much you're putting in your double broiler. Now that I'm going to start mixing this, I like taking it off the heat from time to time so it doesn't get too hot, and just stirring everything in together. Show you guys down here. You can see that that little entity that I made in there is now gone, and it's now just an oil again. So it's back down to its liquid state. It's easy as that. You pretty much are on your way to making a skin salve or balm or whatever you want to do. You can add so much more into this at this point. I let it cool down a little bit more before I add any other essential oils. But depending on if you want it to smell, if you don't want it to smell, some people are scent sensitive, and some people really like to have something good smelling on them. And why not? Like when you're putting something on your skin that's not only healing for your skin, essential oils are healing for our skin as well, but as well as our mind and our senses. So I am going to let it cool down for a sec. And I'm going to add some bergamot in there just because it's one of my favorite smells. I'll show you guys a little trick on how I test if my salve or balm is the way that I want it to be in consistency. So I grab a spoon and I just grab a little bit of the oil and beeswax here. And you can kind of see that it's chilling down really fast. So you just let that sit for about a couple minutes. You can also throw it in the freezer, which will allow it to cool really fast. But you see how fast that solidified? So that is ready. So you can just grab a little bit of it. Just use your finger and grab a little bit of it and put it on your skin and see how that gets in there. So depending on how oily or how like if you want it salvy or if you want it balmy, depending on what you're using it for, a lot of people like it more oily and a lot of people like it more as like a full on like patch for any type of problematic skin, like eczema this would be really good for. So now it has gone into my skin. And depending on how I like it feeling, if I want more oil in there, which I think I'm going to do just because I don't really want that type of consistency for the salve today, I'm going to add a little bit more oil in there. You can also add other carrier oils, like you don't have to use your own herb oil. You can add hemp oil, rosehip oil, any type of oil in there as well, or any type of other infused oil that you made. So I'm gonna, since it's still warm, the oil will easily evaporate and allow it to go back to its back to its oily state and then solidify again. Right, so after that, we can do another test. So we will allow that to cool. So I'll just take the top off here and then try it on my skin again. And there you go. See, that's the type of consistency that I like, where it just naturally melts into your skin. Some people like it thicker, like I said, depending on what you're using it for. If you're using it for dry hands and feet, having it thicker is ideal. But if you're using it just for like a skin salve, or even just like you can use this as a face salve, you really kind of want it to just melt into your skin there. So now that I've found how I like it, and you can try any way that you like it, adding more oil, adding more beeswax, adding less beeswax, depending on what you're using it for. That's the joys. You get to experiment, you get to make things and do a beautiful natural skin salve. So we are going to grab this because it is really hot. I just used a paper towel on this side and my oven mitt on this side. I'm going to put it into a container or a glass cup that I can pour with. side. Here we have our tin, and we are just going to dump that in. And you can see that because it cooled down so fast, because this was cold, now that we have all the salve in here. You can also double boil this down if you find yourself having too much in here, but you can also just use it out of the jar. So I'm really happy with how that turned out. So we're gonna let this rest and sit to the side. And I'm sure by the time we are done making our skin oil, it will be ready to show you what it looks like in its jar. Now I'm going to show you guys how to make a chamomile skin oil. Let's find my recipe up here. All right. So a natural facial oil is a blend of plant-based carriers and beneficial essential oils that help benefit oily skins, acne-prone skins. It helps hydrate, protect your skin, and is intended to nourish your skin. Facial oils have no added water into it, so it's literally just your infused oil with extra oils if you want it to be, and essential oils. Natural face oils mimic the skin's natural protection layers and they don't clog the pores. So when making a skin oil, you want to make sure that you're using not heavy oils. So like olive oils are quite heavy. Sunflower oil is my go-to when I'm making skin oils. A coconut oil is a great also oil to use on the skin just because it absorbs, it doesn't look oily after, and it helps with so many different things that we need for our skin's health. As we age, our skin produces less oil, so facial oils help add those oils back. I'm also helping compact wrinkles and dry skin. Yeah, facial oils protect skin from environmental damages and sun and chemicals in the air, but they are not sunscreen. So beware of that. If you're in a sunny area and you put face oil on your skin and it hasn't like absolutely absorbed, it actually might give you a sunburn. So always be wary of that. I always intend to use face oils first thing in the morning after I wash my face and before I put anything else on, or right before I go to bed. So for this skin oil, in our last class, I taught you guys how to make a chamomile infused sweet almond oil. So sweet almond oil is also one of those oils that are great for the skin, great for healing properties. It's easily absorbed and it doesn't cost much at all. These are oils that you can either find at a natural food store or online. I think a bottle roughly costs about $20, and that bottle will last you a really long time if you're just using it for single-use products like this. So we are going to cut some cheesecloth once again. We're going to take the label off here. And we are going to double it up so we don't get any of that plant matter in our oil. We're going to do the same thing that we did with our last oil. We're just going to put this on top. Oh, now we can drain it. I'm draining it into something that has a spout because it's very easy to get into our glass dropper jars. So we'll let that drain. This is a 2-ounce glass dropper. You can get them off Amazon in 12 packs for about $20. I get mine wholesale because I do use them a lot, but they are relatively cheap. And there are natural health food stores that sell them individually. So you can cut the cost and cut out Amazon. But completely up to you. Some people like making these kinds of things into gifts because you can put your own label on it. You can put your own twist on it. You can add your own essential oils and so on and so forth. So why I'm using chamomile for our face. Chamomile is an amazing herb. They use it in a lot of skincare products because it helps soothe and it helps moisturize the skin in so many different ways than any type of herb. It is honestly one of my favorite herbs to work with. And this oil that we are using for this face oil, this infused oil, can be used into made into a salve as well. You can also use it to make skin lotions, face creams. It's very versatile in so many different ways. So chamomile as well is anti-inflammatory. So if you have problematic skin, once again, this would be an amazing oil for you to use on a daily basis, just because, like I said, it helps soothe your skin and has many other amazing properties to help your complexion. So that's why I love using it on the face, because if you have any irritation or breakouts or any other skin concerns, chamomile oil and essential oil are great for those kinds of things. And we want you guys to be glowing. We want people to be like, what happened? Like, are you using like a $200 face serum, face oil? And you can just say, nope, I made this one myself, which is my favorite thing to say. I actually have a friend here that she uses all of my products that I have on my website. And whenever anybody comments on, oh, you have radiant skin, or wow, like this and that, and she'll always say, sponsored by On Our Farms. And I absolutely love that. It's really freaking cute. All right, so now that we have our oil, it is not hot, so we don't have to worry about it getting to room temperature. We can add more oils. So that jar gave us about 4 ounces. This is only a 2-ounce container, so I'm going to put 2 ounces back into another jar. All right, so now we can add our essential oils. This is the part where you get to be as creative as you want to be, depending on what kind of scents you like and what kind of problematic skin you're trying to beat. There is so many options. There's so many different scents that you can use. And essential oils are vast. There's every type of smell that your little nose can love in an essential oil or hate. So I always try to choose the ones that I like the most because I like smelling nice. I like putting essential oils on my face in an oil because it just is such a euphoric feeling when you're just in this beautiful scent cloud. So in this essential oil, I'm going to be using patchouli. So we're going to do about 5 drops. And I'm going to be using bergamot. So we're going to do another 5 drops of that. Usually the rule of thumb for adding essential oils to something that is going on your face, less is sometimes more. You don't want to put too much essential oils into it because it will overtake the oil and can cause more problems because essential oils are very strong. So I always do a rule of thumb when I'm making small batches, I put a small amount of essential oils. So around 5 drops is as much as I would do for a one single use batch. If I'm doing large batches, sometimes I go up to 10 to 15, but that all depends on the type of scent that I'm going for and how big my batches are. So now that we have our essential oil in there, we're going to give that a little stir. Those essential oils in there. And I'm going to add the smallest little amount of hemp seed oil. I'm just going to gauge it out just because I have my measuring on here. I'm just about to 3 ounces here. And there's going to be a little bit left over and that's totally fine, but I'm just going to add about 1/2 ounce, fluid ounce of hemp seed oil. We're going to stir that up. Now we just made a face oil. We're going to grab our jar and we are going to pour that in. And voila. We just made a chamomile infused oil face serum, face oil, however you want to say it. No judgment here. I like wiping down my jar so they're not super oily because I do spill. I do definitely spill a lot. I think half of my my workload is cleaning up my own messes, which I don't love, but honestly can't get away from it. So now that our oil is completed, we can add our top on. And then I would just label this and put a date on it, what's in it, so you know what it is. And there you go. We just made a face oil. I'm gonna add a little bit to my hand and see how those smell together, the consistency. Oh yeah, that's perfect. It's not too strong, but you can smell both the bergamot and the patchouli together. It's not super oily. You can see on my hand here, it's beautifully just getting in there. It's not oily anymore, like it just absorbed super fast. And that's what your skin wants. Your skin wants to be able to absorb something. It doesn't want it to stick on top because then we'll run into more problems like having extra oily skin or creating a barrier where dirt can just collect on the top. And we don't want that. So yeah, that feels absolutely amazing. I'm blown away as always. All right, now that we've done our face oil, look at our salve. Look how beautiful that is. You see how easy that was to make? And now you have this beautiful salve that you can use for yourself, give to friends. And you can use any type of herb and oils. You can see that that's the smallest bit that I took right there. We can add that onto our arm. And it's going to make my tattoos pop. Easy. All right, so I hope you guys really enjoyed that. I hope it wasn't too confusing. I am happy to answer any questions if anybody has any questions. Before we sign off for the day, you can just say it in chat or you can come on video with me, up to you. But yeah, I just want you guys to know that it's really, really, really easy to just do these kind of things. It's super fun. It's a beautiful feeling when you're working with Mother Earth to create something for yourself or for others. And herbs are nothing to really be scared of. I know a lot of people always fear that it's going to cost too much. It is very cost effective and it's probably cheaper and way better. I'm not quite sure how you guys use beauty products in your worlds, but for me, it's cheaper just to make it myself than to buy it at any store. And I find that it benefits my health and my skin's health way more than anything that I could buy, even if it was $200, $300 worth of products, which I don't think I have the money for. You might, but I definitely don't. Yeah, you're so welcome. I am happy that I've done this class. I'm sorry that I canceled it a couple weeks ago, and I am excited to show you guys some more. If you guys have any requests on what kind of process to do certain things or what kind of plants do certain things, you're more than welcome to message the Facebook page and just kind of give us a little bit of input on what you would like to see next. Yes, aloe is used in a lot of natural beauty products just because it's such one of those plants that you can get and make and grow for really cheap. I don't really incorporate aloe in any of my products at all. So I'm happy that you found something here that could benefit you and not be using aloe. I completely understand that there's a lot of different restrictions that people have, and I'm happy to accommodate and yeah, teach you guys how to do these kind of things without having to pay, a bunch of money for it, and being able to just go out into your backyard and be like, oh, I found this and I can make infused oil and then create it into a beautiful skin product. So thank you. And I'm so happy that you guys were here to join me. I hope I touched all bases, and I will definitely be doing more of this.
Yay, thank you so much. This was so amazing. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Of course.